We often hear wrestlers talk about the bond they form when they're on the road. WWE superstars don't lead traditional lives and don't see their families for months at a time. When a big pay-per-view comes around or when the company is touring overseas, they leave their private lives behind and dedicate their time to promoting WWE's product. This brings the WWE superstars closer together, and in today's world, the WWE superstars are more closely knit than ever before. However, even a decade ago, the WWE stars primarily thought about themselves, considering the fact it was a cutthroat business back then and everybody wanted a piece of the pie. While most of the superstars tried to prove themselves by performing well in the ring, there were others that acted unprofessionally inside the confines of the WWE ring for one reason or the other. My name is John, and in this video we take a look at 10 instances when the WWE superstars performed unprofessionally in the ring. Gail Kim is considered to be one of the greatest women wrestlers of this generation. The multiple-time world champion has competed in the WWE and Impact Wrestling and has cemented her legacy by winning major titles in both promotions. While Gail has had nothing but good things to say about Impact, she hasn't been as kind to WWE, where she worked on 2 separate occasions. Gail returned to the WWE after leaving Impact the first time, and upon her return found out that she could no longer call WWE her home. The former WWE Women's Champion openly admitted about being miserable in the company and could not wait to leave. However, no one would have thought Gail would do what she did before she called up John Laurinaitis to tell him that she didn't want to return to work. In 2011, Gail participated in a battle royal to crown the #1 contender for the Divas title and proceeded to eliminate herself from the match by sliding under the bottom rope to the outside. Kim then casually went to the back and told Johnny Ace about what she did, and he reportedly laughed at the incident. When the Radicals jumped ship to WWE, they were expected to achieve big things in the promotion. Perry Saturn was physically gifted and had the looks to become a decent upper mid-carder. Saturn won the European and Hardcore titles in the WWE, but in 2001, Saturn's anger would get the best of him, resulting in him attacking a jobber during a match. Saturn was working a match with Mike Bell, and when the jobber botched a move, Saturn lost his composure and viciously beat him down. The WWE management then punished Perry by giving him a couple of ridiculous gimmicks, and the superstar would be released from the company the very next year. There was a time when the fans thought Kofi Kingston would soon be challenging for the WWE title. The superstar was on fire and had won the Intercontinental and United States Championships before he started pursuing the world title. However, his feud with Randy Orton, where Kofi was expected to be pushed as a legitimate title contender, did more harm than good for the superstar's chances. Kofi and Randy were involved in a triple threat match in 2010, and during the finish, Kingston was supposed to take a punt kick. However, Kofi missed his cue and Orton instead dropped him with an RKO. Orton then started yelling at Kofi, calling him stupid several times before eventually pinning the superstar. Many believe that the unprofessional conduct of Orton led to Kofi's push getting derailed, and the superstar, who was on the verge of becoming a main eventer, was de-pushed by the organization. In the mid-80s, Wendy Richter was the women's champion and helped popularize WWE's product. When WWE started getting in the celebrities to get mainstream media's attention, Wendy played a major role, starring as the face of the women's division in the company. However, one thing that continued to persist at the time was the disparity in pay between the men and women, and understandably, Wendy wanted to get adequately compensated. Vince McMahon, however, wouldn't give in to her demands and recruited fabulous Moolah to pry the women's title away from Wendy, considering the title was being used as a bargaining chip. At Madison Square Garden, Moolah dressed as the Spider Lady and screwed Wendy out of the title with some help from the referee. While WWE continued to celebrate Moolah's legacy more recently, stories began to surface about Moolah that blemished her name and reputation. In pro wrestling, there's an unwritten rule about protecting your peers. However, Moolah was more than happy to betray her former protege and snatch the title away from Richter. There are very few wrestlers who are deemed bullies in the locker room. One superstar in particular carried that reputation, and that was Hardcore Holly. Holly was considered to be a stiff worker who would take liberties with the younger stars and would try to teach them a lesson. So when the new kid on the block, Brock Lesnar, had a jetpack tied to his back and was pushed to the moon by management, Holly believed that Lesnar was getting too big for his boots. Holly would face Brock in 2002 on SmackDown and attempted to sandbag Lesnar when Brock was going for a powerbomb. However, Lesnar ended up dropping Holly on his head and neck, leading to Hardcore Holly breaking his neck. While that would be enough to teach someone their lesson, Holly wasn't the quickest learner. While recuperating from his neck surgery, Holly appeared on Tough Enough and roughed up another rookie, and left him bleeding in the ring. While people were torn when it comes to their thoughts on Sin Cara, Alberto Del Rio is probably one of the most disliked men in pro wrestling. Del Rio burned a lot of bridges when he left the WWE and did the same thing when he parted ways with Impact. While performing in WWE, Alberto was once scheduled to face Sin Cara. At the time, it was the original Sin Cara that was still performing under the mask, and the two superstars had a lot of history and bad blood between them. Del Rio was still smarting from the fact that he had to take a backseat to Sin Cara when they were performing in Mexico and wasn't impressed with his WWE tenure. During the match, Cara botched a suicide dive and dislocated his finger. While the referee called for the bell, Del Rio was not happy with Sin Cara and attacked him, landing a couple of stiff kicks. It's usually forbidden for performers to legitimately attack their opponents, but kicking a man while he's hurt highlights the main reason why the fans cannot stand the former WWE champion. Impact Wrestling usually receives a lot of flack from the fans, and most of the time it's for a valid reason. One such instance took place in 2011 at Victory Road, and while it did not happen in the WWE, it involves a current WWE superstar. The promotion was pushing Jeff Hardy as their franchise player, and the powers that be invested a lot into Jeff, booking him as the top star in the company. At Victory Road, Jeff was scheduled to face Sting in the main event for the TNA World title, but Jeff showed up completely stoned and was out of his wits. Eric Bischoff thawed on his feet and asked Sting to finish the match as soon as possible. Sting retained his title, but the main event left a sour taste in the mouths of fans. While Jeff has since cleaned up his act, what he did was one of the most unprofessional things a wrestler can do in the business. Similar to Bob Holly, Bradshaw is considered to be one of the biggest bullies in wrestling. In fact, there have been numerous stories involving Bradshaw, with him taking liberties in the ring and hazing the rookies in the back. One such instance allegedly resulted in the former ECW announcer Joey Styles knocking Bradshaw out with a punch, but the former WWE champion has garnered a bad reputation for his antics. One of the more infamous incidents involving Bradshaw took place during the ECW One Night Stand pay-per-view in 2005 when the WWE Superstars and the ECW Originals got into a brawl to end the show. Former ECW and WWE Superstar Blue Meanie was seen bleeding during the scuffle, and it was later revealed that JBL had taken liberties with him, busting him open. More stories have since come out about JBL's misgivings, and the Superstar has since left the organization. There is no doubt in anyone's mind that Shawn Michaels was a phenomenal talent. Shawn had the looks, the skills, and the in-ring talent to become a multiple-time world champion, but the WWE Hall of Famer often used his backstage pull to hurt the careers of superstars he didn't like. One instance would see Shawn refuse to put Vader over and even kicked Vader in the ring, yelling expletives at the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion. But in 1996, Shawn, Triple H, Nash, and Scott were involved in an incident that changed the fans' perception about pro wrestling. Nash and Hall were on their way to WCW, and after having their match, the three superstars hugged each other, while Triple H came out and joined in. The wrestlers had to protect the kayfabe aspect of the industry, but the four stars broke the tradition and exposed the business. This led to WWE punishing Triple H while Shawn escaped the management's wrath. Towards the end of the millennium, The Rock was quickly climbing the ladder in the WWE en route to becoming one of WWE's top stars. Mankind was also making his way to the top, and the two superstars were then embroiled in a heated rivalry. This led to an I Quit match at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in 1999, and The Rock was supposed to lay Foley out with 5 chair shots. However, the People's Champion forgot that he had to stop at 5 and continued to nail Foley on the head with a chair. The onslaught saw Rock hitting Mankind with 11 chair shots. Not only did The Rock put Mankind in some serious danger, but it could have just as easily resulted in Mick suffering serious brain damage. In the end, the two stars became good friends, but that does not absolve The Rock of his unprofessionalism for what he did to Mankind. In And these are 10 times WWE wrestlers performed unprofessionally in the ring. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I'll see you later with more videos.